afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are calling in from. Thank you for joining us. We hope you're having a wonderful day, evening. We hope to spice it up a little bit with a really good event. Those who are here, let me know if you can hear me in the chat. I'm excited. Look, I'm excited to, one, be with you tonight. I'm excited to have this special guest tonight. And I'm really looking forward to the chat as we are going to have a special guest come on board. I'm going to bring her up in 1 second, but I wanted to go through a little bit of housekeeping. If you're not familiar with Crowdcast, it's a great platform. At the bottom, you get to ask questions, so I get to see those. Make sure you put your questions in there. People can vote on them. Make sure we get the top ones in there. We'll have some time at the end to answer your questions. There's also a poll at the bottom. Make sure to check the poll, answer the questions. It'll feed into the conversation, and we'll answer those as well. And if you haven't, if you are not following us anywhere else, make sure to check us out on all social platforms. resistbooksellers.com is the website, but resist_books, BKS, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. I think we're on TikTok, everywhere else. So make sure to do that. But I'm going to get our guest up here. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good conversation. And I'm looking forward to this conversation and your feedback. So make sure to do that. So I see a couple friends in the chat a little bit. I'm glad they're here. I see our guest of honor is coming up. So we're getting that on. She already got the hair did for me. Look, I'm feeling special already. Look, for those who are here, make sure you hit the hand clap emojis. Make sure you say thank you and welcome to our special guest for DL White. DL, I know you're working on your situation there, getting settled, get your water, get everything straight. I got questions and I need answers. Right. So we are going to have a good time. So look, I know you are really, really busy. And I just want to say, one, from the bottom of our heart here at Resist, we're thankful that you took time to be with us. I'm sure there's a rap line in there somewhere I can say about you being anywhere else in the world. But I just want to say thank you for choosing us. This is our first time doing this, so I'm hoping the internet complies, the cameras comply. Hope there's no tropical storm Jackson or whatever. Hope none of that happens, and we have a really good time tonight. So let's start there. Usually in these author chats, we do like a bio, right? And I want to do something a little different because we different. So I want to start out with this question, and here's how we're going to get people to know and understand you. And you're going to fill in the blanks, and we'll start asking some more questions after that. So finish this sentence for me. If people really wanted to know who you are, they need to know blank.
Oh,
on the spot. Look, from the top, on the spot.
There's a couple things I could say. I'm a reader. I'm an avid reader. You need to know books. But to know me is to know that I am a big old NSYNC fan.
Oh, okay. Hold on. With a pen. I didn't know that one. Let me write that one down. NSYNC. So if they come to town, you are going for the reunion tour. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
NSYNC. Yep. All right.
No matter where it is, I'm there. Probably. I don't know.
I mean, as long as the tickets are within reason, you're not like paying a mortgage payment to go see.
Right. I mean, but that's a once in a lifetime thing. I'm an adult with disposable income.
There you go.
I'm there.
Not NSYNC. Okay, look, I was expecting something like, I like to read, these special books and stuff. No, NSYNC. And I'm sure if we were to play some music, you could sing along, the words. Is that what I'm hearing?
From that band?
Yes.
Probably yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I won't put you on the spot there because then I got to sing. It's a whole bad thing. We don't want to do that to the people. So let's dig a little bit more into that.
Okay.
And your experience set, like the other things that have happened to you in your life prior to writing, before you became a writer, What would you say are some like formative experiences that have happened to you that like said, all right, this is who I am, DL. So it may have been, I was moving around. I think I saw in your bio you were a military kid.
Yes.
Maybe there's something there. Maybe it's something in college. Maybe it's something else that formed who the DL we see today.
I mean, I think it really goes all the way back to me being in elementary school. I'm a loner. I'm an introvert. I am outgoing, but I'm very much an introvert. I love being alone in my room, doing my thing. So I would just be in there reading and writing. And I tell this story a lot that we had this assignment with spelling words that you use each word in a sentence. Reciprocate. She reciprocated. How boring is that assignment? So I would take the sentences and make a story out of it. So every sentence looped with the next, with the next, with the next, until I had like a 20 sentence story. And I was doing it because I was bored and I wanted to amuse myself. My teacher was so fascinated with it because I think I was in like, I don't know, what grades do you spelling words? Second grade, third grade?
Look,
I
you're asking the wrong person. I was the
I
math
don't
kid.
I don't
Spelling and reading and writing were
yes.
not my jam.
I I was a young child. My teacher was so fascinated by that, and I was like, "Oh, y'all like that? Okay, you done it now."
Right, right.
A little bit of a people pleaser. I like when people like the things I do, so
Uh,
I kept doing it, and really from then on, I've always been a writer. I've always been a reader. If you see me, my Kindle has like 27 million books in it. I always have a book somewhere in the car, in my
right.
on my nightstand. I mean, that's just been me throughout my life. For me to relax, I pull out a book. I don't turn on TV. I pull out a book. I turn on an audiobook.
Okay.
That's that's if I get stressed out, I want to read something. Just take me away. Um, we did move around a lot, so I didn't make a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of lifelong friends because we moved every 5 years. My parents retired in Spokane, Washington, which is like 8% black, maybe. You don't only see black people when you go to church. And so, we kind of had to build that little insular crowd of friends and like people that I still know today, but like my comfort and my peace, my joy, who I am, that's always gonna be in my books.
So you said something and I wrote it down. I want to make sure I get that because I think this is going to be really hard as a writer who's on social media. You said that you're a people pleaser. So does that mean you
Mhm.
don't look at the reviews and you don't
No,
look at the comments about your writing? Like that's got to be
no,
tough if you are a people pleaser and people are saying something that may not be complimentary about your writing or your style or whatever. How
exactly.
hard is that?
I don't look at it. I haven't checked my reviews since I want to say Beach Thing, which came out in 2016. Because I know overall people like my work. They like my books. They don't have too many issues with it. Some spelling, the author needs an editor, that kind of thing. I'm always going to get those comments. If they find two errors in the book, author needs an editor. Um, every time an English teacher reads my books, I get an email. So I get feedback pre publication that gives me an idea of what I would see in the reviews. And I'm good. I know I'm going to see certain things. I don't like this character, and I don't like how this person's written. I don't like how this guy. I know. I already know. I already know what I'm going to hear. I don't go to the reviews for anything instructive.
Okay.
I might pick out a review to show to other people. Look, people like my books. Look, see, huh? See,
So write some glowing
yeah,
reviews, people. Come on, help her out. Make the
yeah.
marketing
So
easy.
then I go, yeah, I really do go and filter for 5 star and 4 star reviews. Don't try to be slick in your 4 star review and put something mean, but rate it 4 stars because I will have somebody talk to you.
Okay.
Um, I'm
You got
joking.
the
I'm
people?
joking.
Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, but I mean, I did early on, read every review, and some of them really hurt my feelings. That really hurt my feelings. And the fact that people aren't just dying to read me hurts my feelings.
What's wrong with these people?
So
Like, how could they
stop looking at
possibly have
them.
read your
Yes.
books and not
Yeah.
love it, right?
Yeah. I know what I'm going to see in the reviews. And I stopped reading them because it was a lot of the same. They didn't really help me out that much.
Mhm.
Reviews are for readers. So if you're a reader, be honest. Don't be a butt. Be honest in your review, because what you don't like somebody else does, and
Right,
what you
right.
don't like somebody else might. So but I also developed my pre-publication process with beta readers and ARC readers. Let me know what you think. Be serious. Don't just tell me it's good. I know it's good. I wouldn't send it to you if I didn't
Right.
think it was good.
I like to put out
Let
good
me
stuff,
know.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how can it be better? What confused you? What didn't you like? What drags? What's boring? What did I slide over too quickly that you'd rather see on the page? Because I try to be a little slick. And Karen, the reader's like, no,
No, no.
no,
So I see
we need
Karen's
more.
here, and I knew she would be here, and I'm
Yeah,
like, if there's some people that would not let that stuff slide because they like your work, right? So they want to see and read the
right.
next great piece of work from
Yes.
you. I doubt they're going to let any of that stuff slide, and that's what you need,
No.
right? Not the bobbleheads.
Yeah, she really don't. She really don't let much slide. And so, every book, that process gets better. But what's beneficial to me is the pre-publication process with the people that love my books, want them to read better, want them to sell better, want them to shine bright like a diamond. And so, to be honest, I have betas that will read it and read it and read it and read it. The same book. You just read this. Send it to me. I will read it again.
Right.
And I get, notes every time. And
Yeah.
so that's how I improve. That's how I get better, not by reading the person that slammed through a book that took me a year to write in 4 hours. Good. Author needs editor. Like
Right. That's
that's
enough.
not
Yeah. That's not
helpful. That's not
helpful.
helpful to me. I do love them. Continue to rate them. Be honest in your views, because I'm not looking at it. Go for it.
Listen, I am not I only do sometimes the reviews when I like it's really moves me, but I have not rated people or books when it was like a one or a two. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering at times where I felt if I should at least put the review up. Maybe the star rating doesn't matter as much, but at least
Hmm.
I can say here's the things that I enjoyed, things that I thought were a little off, or maybe something.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how that's helpful, but I also feel like I'm not the one who put my heart and soul into those pages. And the last thing I want to do is just poo-poo on somebody's work because I didn't like it. So that's the challenge, right? I'm not here to be mean. I really didn't
Yeah.
like the book. That's
But I
kind
feel
of
like if
rough.
you can be specific in that review, what didn't you like, what didn't
Yeah.
work for you, that can be helpful if that author is using reviews as an instructive tool. If a reader is using reviews as a reason to read or not to read a book, like I'll be reading a book and I'm like, man, this is slow. Does it speed up at all? That's when I go check the reviews and say,
Yeah.
part one is slow, but really speeds up during part two. Just hang in there. I have put that, like the Turner House. The beginning is real slow, but then like it speeds way up. And so I have to tell people, like, just really hang in there the first couple chapters. It lays a foundation. You want to stick around. It does get really good. So if you can be specific and help guide future readers to that book, what you enjoyed, what didn't you enjoy, I feel like that's far more beneficial than not saying anything. It doesn't help anybody if you don't say anything.
Yeah, and I also give them a little grace. Sometimes they write the books knowing that it's a trilogy or there's another book behind it, and so the first part of the first
Yes.
book may be a little slow, maybe a lot more
Yeah.
building than I would hope for. But it really just
Yes.
depends on how the writer wrote the book. So I'm always going to find something else. So I just don't spend much time and energy on something I didn't like because there's like 50
Mhm.
million other books that I do want to read. So I
Yeah.
just move on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
let's continue on getting to know DL. So here you are. You said you are a full grown adult making adult decisions with disposable income and all
Yes.
that good stuff. What brings you joy every day? like you talked about a few things, but if I was to line up all the things that could just make you 100% happy, what are those things?
Things bring me joy. I love talking to my dad. He is, I have my mom's sense of humor, but my
Hmm.
dad is the funniest, crotchetiest old man. He's 70 and he insists on getting up on the roof to clean out the gutters.
Oh no, no,
Um,
no, no,
he
Dad,
just
stop, no, no.
discovered, like, he just recently discovered Netflix. Like, I set my parents up with Netflix in like 2015. He just recently found Netflix and he's working his way through, I guess, every movie on
That's probably the
the
greatest thing he ever
platform. I
saw.
love it. Loves it. He'd be watching stuff with subtitles. Like, what? What? I don't know. I just started watching it. He's funny. He makes me laugh. He just my dad is funny. Conversely,
Hmm.
my mom and I have the same sense of humor. We can talk books for hours on end. Um, she's a funny lady. Finding an excellent book, a favorite author that has released a new book, I will scream. I will scream, especially if it's a surprise. It's real. I saw a book today, The Secret Life of Groceries. I don't know why that interests me, but I found that book on Hoopla, and
So,
I
so
am
when you
going to
saw the
read it
book
next week.
and, you know, you did this virtually, you looked at the back of the book and you were like,
Yes,
how did they describe
that
this
sounds
to
good.
reel you in?
It just sounds interesting.
It just is. I
It
had to read it.
sounds interesting to me. I am always watching the weirdest
The
documentaries.
secret life of groceries.
I don't watch Real Housewives of nothing. I have never seen Beverly Hills, whatever you're talking about. Black people fighting on TV. I don't know. Bachelor, Bachelorette, never seen it. The Secret Life. If there was a documentary on how grocery shelves get stocked, I would be watching it.
Okay, I already
How
know
it's
what that
made,
is.
love it.
It's some foolishness, is what it
Love it.
is. Because all the stuff I need is down on the bottom while the kids are
Nowhere.
grabbing it off
Yes,
the shelf and busting up the boxes,
exactly.
not
Yeah.
up top
The
where I would be able to
psychology
reach.
of, yes, the psychology of how a grocery store gets stocked, how they sell it, particularly working for a brand. I sit in those meetings and we're talking about, this customer and that customer, and we want this and, that pricing and this
Hmm.
facing and this kind of inventory. Like, I'm sitting in those meetings. So now I find it even more interesting, but like a weird documentary.
Secret life. Look,
Yeah. Yeah.
Tasha said
Secret Life of Groceries. Yes.
the secret life
Yes.
of
So
groceries.
like,
Okay.
weird nerdy
So what about
stuff.
a show
How
like
pennies are made. I'm watching that.
yeah, how things are made? As that was the one I
Yep.
was gonna.
I love how it's made. I
Yep.
love how it's made.
Because
Yeah.
they'll go through
I
stuff
have
like
that.
how a beach ball is
Yeah.
made. Like it's so weird, random stuff.
I watched them make a fireman's hat and I was like, wow, that's exciting. My
Yeah,
roommate's like,
yeah.
what are you watching? I was like, how it's made. They just made a fireman's hat. She's like, what?
Why?
Yeah. That's
That's when you
me.
get the
That is,
judgment looks, right?
yes. She's like,
All right.
okay.
I mean, that
I
sounds
think that's
simple though,
neither
right?
my cool. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not off the
Well, like,
chain. It's not super expensive. And I'm
right.
sure
You
there's a
know,
lot of stuff, especially with the 50 million channels we have. I mean, there's a lot of ways in which you can
yes.
find that type stuff.
You know, a bag of Skittles. I love Skittles. A little like
Okay.
chewy
All
candy. I
right.
love
Now
it.
hold on.
Pretty
Hold
chewy
on.
candy.
You already, we got to do this now. Before we get to your writing, we're
Okay.
going to get to your books.
Okay. Okay.
I follow you on Twitter,
Uh-huh.
and somebody posted something about the worst candy. And we were in agreement. It was
Mounds and good and plenty.
Good and Plenty. That was the one. Good and Plenty. So I'm okay with that. Good and Plenty
Yeah.
out of that group of candy was the right choice. Mounds, give or take it. It's if it's at the bottom of the Halloween candy
Mm-mm.
bag for my kids. I don't like to throw everything away. That might get eaten. So I wanted to get you on record because you are a candy
Okay.
person. I actually read one of your books, and it seemed like candy was the main topic, but we're gonna get into that in a second. What is the best candy in your
Ooh,
humble but important opinion? And if y'all got
oh
comments, y'all
man.
want to give y'all answers, go ahead and hit the comments. But
I would love to
don't give
see
me
what
the
other people
five
think.
best. I want the one.
I mean, I cannot ever turn down Skittles. I love me
Okay.
some Skittles. I try to have Skittles on hand. I'm gonna say that's the best for me. I also love Albanese gummies. Gummy
Okay.
bears, not gummy worms because that's gross, but gummy bears, Albanese gummy bears, they're good.
All right. So let's go back to the Skittles because I like
Hmm.
Skittles too. It's not my favorite. Mr. Goodbar is me, but no, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is me. Sorry. Mr. Goodbar is in there. Do you like the variations of the Skittles, or you just like the OG Skittles bag? Taste the rainbow,
I
or you like the
prefer
tropicals?
I prefer the OG. I like them all except the sour because the sour hurts right here. I can't.
Okay,
It hits me right here. I can't do that. Can't do sour, but all the other variations,
you're good
I'm
with.
good. Give me a bag
Okay.
of Skittles and I'm happy.
Tasha said got 6 cavities over gummies when she was 7, so I'm going with gummies.
Love gummies. Yes,
So it hurt my heart, hurt my teeth, but I'm
yes,
good. I like it because you did
yes.
actually put "powered by Skittles" in your bio too. I love that.
Powered by Skittles. Yep, that's my
Let's
writing snack.
I see that starting to come in. Make sure you put your questions in the ask a question box. We'll make sure to get those on the screen in a few seconds here. But I did want to jump into something more related to your writing. In your bio, you talked about how you got into writing. And for those who haven't read your bio, I think it's a really cool journey to share. You talked about it a little bit. Could you like expand on it a little bit? How you got from as a kid and in school, and then how you actually really started writing and putting pen to paper.
I mean, I was a kid writing. My parents would buy me composition notebooks, whatever, pens, pencils, whatever I wanted. As I got into high school and I was reading a lot of that was feeding my writing. And the local college, Eastern Washington University, the Black Studies program would have a Martin Luther King Jr. contest every year. And my mom's best friend was the secretary, and she said you should tell Dominique to enter because they do a contest every year. She might win. And so I started writing. I don't think I won the first year, but the second and third year that I did it, I won money. And it was at that point that I realized I might actually be good at this. So I think I won like a scholarship through my high school or something for my writing. It's been 30 years. I can't remember. I'm
Hey,
old.
hey, we
So
don't. It's a safe space here. You can talk about your age in here.
yeah,
As someone who's
I graduated
45 and
in
30 years ago was
1992.
high school,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes. I'm only 3 years older than you. So 1992. So, through college, I enjoyed writing papers, but academic writing didn't really feed my creativity. When I got out of high school, I was doing a lot of reading, but not too much writing. And that's when I was looking for like kind of an outlet. My brother had died in a car accident in 2008, and I'm not an emotional person, so I'm not going to sit in a corner and cry, but I do need to find a way to push this emotion out before it eats me alive. I remember like I was listening to a lot of NSYNC at the time. I found a lot of comfort in the music, and I found fan fiction. And people were writing these elaborate stories featuring members of the band, and I was like, huh, interesting. If they can do it, maybe I could do it. So I tried my hand at it. I wrote my first story. There's this fan fiction archive. I put it up, and this happens to me every time I release a book. My butt goes numb. I don't know what kind of
What?
reaction that is, but my butt goes
Wait,
numb.
is your
I'm
butt
just,
numb because you've been
I
sitting writing,
commit,
or is it just
just,
like,
oh, I'm just nervous. I was so nervous about people reading my writing because I felt like
oh,
I
Okay.
had poured my heart all over this page and I was incredibly vulnerable at that moment. And a lot of my emotions were coming through, just like venting and emoting about losing my brother. Like, this was really my way to like get my feelings out. And I was so nervous about people reading my work that I got up at like 2 a.m. and deleted it. And I had messages the next morning like, I was in the middle of reading your story and it disappeared. Put it back, put it back. And
There
I
you
was like,
go.
wait, y'all were reading that?
That's
Y'all,
good.
wait, y'all were reading that? So I put it back and I proceeded to write novel length fan fiction for like 4 years until the story for my debut started coming to me through my own brunch group. I was talking about this idea that I had for a book with them, and they were like, "Well, you should write it. Why aren't you writing it? You should write it." And I was like, really kind of poo-pooed it, and they were like, "No, really, you should write it. Like, you write fan fiction.
Right.
You're writing like novel length fan fiction. Like, when you write fan fiction, you're like, you borrow the world that's already created and the characters are already created, but you have to like mimic the personality, the public personality, so that that character is recognizable. But you can create your own original characters to pair with those characters that those people that already exist. So I was writing romance. I was already writing romance. I was already creating stories, just the people were familiar. So why can't you take that and write your own people? So I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So 2011, I started writing Brunch at Ruby's. It took me 4 years to write that book because I was not ready to write it when I started writing it. But that's where it started. I wrote it and got mad, put it away, pulled it back out the trash, worked on it some more, quit, threw it away, pulled it back out the trash. And
This
then
thing is dirty. It's got like taco sauce
right,
on it, but
yes,
I'm still
twice.
writing this book.
Yeah, I quit twice. Yeah. And then I decided NaNoWriMo 2013, I think, or 2014. I said, I am finishing this book and I don't care if nobody but me and my mama read this book. I'm going to finish it.
It's gonna get finished.
So I tore it apart, used some of what I had already written, and I just did this big synopsis, everything that happens chapter by chapter. Like, okay, this is the story, put it in here inside the book. And I just put my head down and said, you are finishing this book. You're going to get it done, because it wouldn't leave me alone. I tried to quit twice. It wouldn't leave me alone. I had to finish it. So that's where it started. I finished and it came out in 2015. So
So
then I was
I
like,
had a
now what?
question, and I think you just answered it. I'm gonna go ahead and scratch it out. What was the most challenging book you ever wrote? So you just kind of told me
Listen,
like
yeah,
this is, and I
yeah,
always wonder. I'm not a writer. Love reading fiction and all that good stuff, but like some people talk about how they have a process now. They know how they're going to start and get through stuff. They do it in a certain order. They may write the characters first and then write the story, or just sit down and start writing. Do you think in your first book, or in writers in general, that first book is the toughest because you don't have that experience set to kind of work from yet? Or is that just like the first one's the
yeah.
toughest because you're trying to over perfect it? Or is there some other reason?
I think the first was the toughest for me because I was a reader. So I know what good fiction looks like, but I did
Hmm.
not yet have the skill to produce good fiction.
Okay.
So I was frustrated and I couldn't get my writing to be as good as I wanted it to be. I wanted to sit down and write like Toni Morrison out of the
Oh,
gate.
out the gate.
And I
Okay.
didn't understand why my writing was sounding like Uncle Charles at midnight. I mean, the skill just was not there. I think I didn't understand process. I didn't understand pacing. I didn't really understand the art of storytelling. I didn't have all the mechanics of writing, even though I had been reading good books. It's wholly different once you turn it around and you start writing the books. I have also seen people tear books apart. And I did not want my book torn apart. Like I almost didn't release it because I didn't want people to tear it apart. That's why I said, I don't care if it's me and my mama. Only two people are going to get this book. And so it was hard for me because I wanted it to be good out of the gate, and it wasn't. But I think that was just growing pains and figuring out what my process is, and how do I write well? What's my idea of writing well? How do I get to that point? How do I bring my writing to that standard? I wouldn't say any of my books were easy to write. My first book was certainly the hardest, and it took the longest because I was learning so much, while I was writing that. But all of my books have been hard to write.
Well, I mean, you kind of gave us why, right? You gave us, one, you pour everything into it. Two, you seem like you like the stories and the characters you're writing. And then the part about wanting to make sure that people like your book, I can imagine like you can get to one line and say, I don't think people will like that line, and then go rewrite a whole chapter. I mean, it could lead you down a spiral if you let it. But it seems like you have written 10 books. So maybe, just maybe, it's not as painful. I'm hoping. I'm sure people are hoping for number 11 and 12 and 15. We have
11 is kicking my behind.
Number 11 is kicking you?
It's kicking my behind. It's like I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue.
Now, I'm catching up. Is number 11 part of a series? Is it a continuation, or is this brand new?
I wanted number 11 to be another Powder Lake book, but it just does not want to come yet. It's not ready to be told yet. I'm hoping number 11 is going to be, new characters, something fun and short for the season. I mean, I don't write short, so except for the holiday shorts. So it won't be like a long, like full length novel. But it will hopefully, be a good story. I haven't published since 2020, and I'm beating myself up about it daily, even though I know Tasha is going to tell me to relax.
And probably everyone else will tell you to relax, breathe, get some Skittles,
Yeah, I just feel like if I don't push it, I'm going to go another year without publishing. I will never publish trash. I don't write trash. It won't be terrible. So what's going to come is going to be the very best work I can produce. But it's been difficult. The last few years have been.
Somebody telling you to relax. I see somebody saying they need 10 more books. No pressure at all.
I mean, 10 was my original goal. I wanted 10 books in print. And I really, once I hit Neverlist was 10, and I was like, you know what, we're good. We can coast for just a little bit. But the next goal is 20. 20 books in print would be an awesome feat. And I'm really trying not to look at, these authors out here with 77, 106.
No, don't look at the top of the mountain. 77 is a lot of books. That's a lot of writing. Since I follow you, I follow Tasha, I follow a lot of other writers. I don't know how y'all do it. The torment y'all put on Twitter and y'all tweets about these words ain't coming out today. I'm slamming my computer shut. They can write themselves tomorrow. It doesn't seem like a wholesome, fun process.
It helps to complain about it a little bit.
Okay.
Because you get it out. I need to get it out my system. I'm frustrated. I'm tired. These words ain't coming. I don't know what to do. Let me tell 27,000 of my friends that this sucks right now.
And I'm going to tell you from the outside, right? I'm the one reading your tweet, and I'm like, do I send a ha-ha emoji? Or am I sending her you need to call on Jesus. I don't know which one it is. It's like y'all seem like you're going through a lot, and I'm like, I don't know if this is funny time or this is pray for me time. I'm not sure which one it is.
A little of both. A little of both. It helps if you get it. A little of both. It can be rough. It can be rough, but a lot
I
of
can
times I
tell.
just hop on Twitter because I need to decompress and I need to express that I'm frustrated. And a lot of that stuff we need to save for the group chat. But like the very general writing
Yeah,
is
yeah.
difficult and I don't know what I'm doing right now. Sometimes I just feel like the world needs to hear that. I need to emote it. I need to express it. I need to get it out. And then in an hour, I need to get back in my document because I can do this.
Yeah, and we believe you can do it. Now we're not, and it just sometimes, I feel like y'all are doing the best you can in a very difficult, and it's nice. It's actually nice to get a little peek into the world of writing because as we're reading the book and we're like, man, this was such great writing. How did they get here? Well, they didn't get to here some easy route. They didn't just sit down and bang out a 300, 400 page novel in 10 days.
Yes.
It actually
Yes.
took a lot of work, process, reviewing, editing, and all that good stuff just to get here. So, it helps me
Mhm.
appreciate it a little bit better knowing that one, you're being open about it, but two, that I get to know that this is
Mhm.
not an easy process. So I
Mhm.
have a couple polls in here. I wanted to kind of pull this one on stage. It said, I asked the group, what is your favorite romance trope? And friends to lovers won out, followed by enemies to lovers. Is that like, in your opinion, you're a reader and a writer, a big reader and a big writer. Uh, which one do you like to read most? And which one do you enjoy writing most of the tropes?
I, I am an enemies to lovers girl all day, every day. All my books would be enemies to lovers if I let myself do that. I sometimes have to talk myself out of that. Like your last book was enemies to lovers, so it's chill out. I do not do friends to lovers that often.
Okay.
I'll read it if an author friend wrote it because I like to say this about Shensia Higgins' work. I trust her. I know she's not going to throw me off a cliff. She's not going to like throw some wild twist in there that's like, ha, gotcha. So I feel a little like safe reading her work. I feel safe reading Tasha's work because while her premise might be a little bonkers, I know she's going to bring it all together. She's going to wrap it up in a bow. It's going to be beautifully written and it's going to inspire me to write something beautiful myself. The thing about friends to lovers is I feel like so many of them are the couple is halfway in love already. One of them is already in love with the other and they're just hanging out in the cut just in case you like want to get busy. But I'm just here. I just, we're friends, whatever, what up, but
Wait. That's page 37 in the Black Man's Handbook. What are you talking about?
I'm like, I
Let me just
just
stand
it,
close to the cute girl just in case she wants to not be friends
yeah.
anymore. Look, that's
Right. And I'm like, if they're really friends, like friends don't do certain things that happen in romance novels. I'm like,
okay.
that's not a friend. That's a dude you hooking up with. I mean, like the lines are blurry and I need what's the word I'm thinking of? Like
Now I would
just yeah,
let me just
it's
throw a
too
little teats
just
in that discussion. I think if the friendship is over time, so we were friends in middle school, high school, college, and then as an adult, my taste in people have changed over that time frame, right? You go from being, I just want a girl with a big butt and a smile to now I want some quality. I want some character.
yeah,
I still want the big butt and a smile, but we're
right.
not going to get rid of that. And so your friend may have had all these qualities from day one, but y'all were just friends, buddies, hanging out. And I can see how you can go from that wasn't even attractive to me at first, but now I'm like, I'm in my 30s. I want a woman with some character to
Yes.
her,
Yeah.
have a
Mhm.
conversation. I want to be able to talk about how it's made or, that the prime minister just resigned. I want to be able to have that conversation and the person know what I'm talking about. And that person could have had it the whole time, but that wasn't my friend. And now my friend has now become attractive romantically. I can see that. I don't think it happens very often in real life.
Yeah.
But
True.
I can see how you can get there.
The issue is that it takes a long time to write that buildup.
Oh yeah, I
And a
can
lot
see
of
that.
readers
I can
don't
see
want to
that.
sit through that buildup. So you kind of have to cheat and really get to the point where one of them has realized that they have feelings for the other, and now they have to convince the other that, hey, I think there's something here that we should investigate. And then, the
Yeah,
other has to
that
be
would
like,
be me checking out and giving
I
you a
don't want to
3-star
ruin it.
review because the book moved too slow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It took too long to get
point
to
taken. Like,
the good stuff. Yeah. And then it cuts it right off at I love you. So,
yeah, that's it.
like, you kind of have to, I feel like there's a lot of manipulation of a situation. And like, I recently read a friends to lovers book where like they're friends and they share a home, but they're like so handsy and feely with each other. Like they are not dating, but he's like caressing her chin. And I'm like, I thought they were
No.
friends.
I have
Yeah.
I have some
I
female
don't,
friends. I don't think I've
yeah.
ever touched their face, like,
Yeah.
unless they had
Yeah.
some like mustard, like wiping off the face. But
Yeah.
it was not a
Yeah.
caress.
I don't do that with my friends. So,
No, no.
yeah, like I'll read it if like one of my faves writes one. I won't read it by choice. Like an author I don't know, I'm probably not going to dive into that.
And look, you
No.
already got me in trouble. You got me in trouble there. Yes, that is Mrs. Frazier, and
Right.
yes, she says I shouldn't be touching any women's faces. Thank you, thank you, thank you,
No,
DL.
no, be like, okay, friend, will you just have a really good
No,
day and
you're my
just,
best friend.
you're special and you're beautiful. And I just want you to, my male friends, particularly, we ain't, we'd be like, all
No,
right, loser, check you later,
yeah. And actually, I
no.
think about it. If you did have mustard on your face, I would probably be like sneaking a picture. So
You're
like,
very parent about that kind of thing, probably.
yeah, probably. Like you got something on your face, but let me post this on Twitter first.
Right.
She eats with her
You would
face.
never do that to me.
I would never do that. I would never do that. At least not tell you. Anyway, one of the books I read recently of yours was a very cute novel, and you actually talked about it a little bit in the Potter Lake series, and it's Leslie's Curl and Die. So,
Yeah.
one, if you have not read it, let's clear the air here. If you don't own D.L. White's books, Fix Your Life, there's a button here that says buy DL's books. We wrote that very specifically so you can buy DL's books. Okay. Go do it now. We have 9 of the 10 available from Resist. She has them available on booksbydlwhite.com. It's available in Kindle. It's everywhere. So you have no
Just
excuse. You
about
can't say,
everywhere.
well, I got
Yeah.
this. I don't like doing. Okay. We got options
Just
for
about
you. Buy the
everywhere.
books.
Yeah.
Right. So
Libraries.
in that book, it's a wonderful romance about 2 small town residents go to the same college for a bit. Life splits them up, and they wind up connecting again in the small town after life redirects their path. I'm trying not to give away anything about the book. So here's my question for you, Dio. Who is KC? For real. And what made you fall in love with him?
KC was,
He's not fictitious. That's a real man right there.
who do you think KC is?
I'm just here to ask the questions. I think Casey's a real person. Because let me give you the facts, people. If you've read the book, Karen, I know you've read it. It happens at a smallish college. Sounds like Eastern Washington to me. They loved snacks. Mike's and Ike's and red vines and all types of stuff was in the book. And the female main character is smart and a little nerdy and can do hair. I'm feeling like there's some realness to this book here, but I'm gonna let you answer the question.
I have no idea who you're referring to
Went to the
because
NBA. I feel like there's a player
yeah,
somewhere.
I don't know anything about basketball. When I wrote this book, I only knew that I wanted him to be an injured player. And my friends who watch basketball said, you need to make him a basketball player. He got injured.
Right.
So he retired and he moved back to his college town. Boom. So then I start trying to form this character. A little bit of Cade came from Kobe Bryant, like his showmanship,
Right.
playing to the
Right.
camera, kind of coming up from high school and up. Um, Cade was traded, through different teams, making his way up through the NBA. But the rest of that just came from like reading random profiles of players. If their name isn't LeBron James or like
The big
Steph
names.
Curry, like I don't know who they are. I have no clue. I don't know
Tasha
anything about
says you don't
sports.
do the sport ball.
I don't sports at all. I have to ask people like, so what do they call it when this thing happens? I be writing books and I have no idea. I fully depend
Okay.
on my beta readers and people that help me because I don't know. In fact, when I wrote this book, I wrote Cade as a center. He's 6'4". My
Yeah,
beta
that's
said he's too short to be a center. And I was like, he's 6'4". That's tall. No, that's short for
for
basketball.
basketball.
He could be a
NBA
guard.
basketball, that's short.
Right. I
He's a
was
guard.
like, they're like, he could be a guard. And I was like, all right, boom, he's a guard. I don't even know what that is. I have no idea. Not a clue. So I always have to like have people read my books that know what I think I'm talking about because I have no idea.
Well, it makes sense because when we said what brings you joy, you didn't say watching playoff baseball, right?
Yeah.
You didn't say that. So,
No, I only watch March Madness
okay.
as
Or
long
Gonzaga.
as my hometown team Gonzaga is it. When they lose, I'm out. I don't care.
And you've probably
Actually, I
watched
don't even
quite a
watch the
bit in the
games.
last
I
few
don't even
years.
watch the games.
Yeah.
I do not watch the games.
Okay.
I watch
All
the
right.
scores,
I was
but I
thinking there
only
was
care
some
as long as
dude.
Gonzaga's playing. Yeah.
I was thinking
No,
there's some dude in there somewhere. I was like, okay.
no, no.
And for those who are into nonfiction, just to kind of give a little bit more about that book, one of my favorite characters in the book was the town itself, Potter Lake. I haven't read the others in the series, but the town itself has like a build to it. You can see like the generational themes, the economic themes, the social themes. What was the kind of inspiration for the town itself? Because it wound up being part of the glue that held some of the characters and the interactions together as well.
I really I love a small town romance. I think I was reading the Beverly Jenkins Blessings series, which is like a small black only town. And I was like, man, that would be awesome. Like I was reading a lot of, I totally forget her name, but who writes the Virgin River series? Robin Carr, I think. I used to read every Robin Carr book imaginable when I was younger because she writes these really beautiful small town romance series. And I love like the closeness of the town. I love like walking into the diner and the waitress by her first
Oh yeah.
name because her mom taught your sister and is best friends with your grandpa. Like I love that like that small town atmosphere, and I wanted to bring that to Potter Lake, and I wanted to make it black because I wanted this town to be self-sufficient and a place where people go to thrive. And I think when I wrote that book, I didn't realize it was about gentrification. To be honest, Tasha had to point that out to me. The book was about gentrification. I was like, that's right. It's
And a
absolutely no
slimy mayor.
hesitation.
That
And a
too.
slimy mayor. I liked the conflict, and I liked the fight for the town, and I liked Cade and Leslie vying for the affection and the business of the town people. And that town had to grow in order to survive. In
Yeah.
order for either of those shops to survive, they had to work together. And so that was truly an enemies to lovers, because Cade was most definitely killing her business. And then he was like, well,
With his cheap haircuts.
I'm not
Yeah.
closing. So, right? Listen, men love them a cheap haircut. My
I,
brother is a bum, and he
yeah.
knows. So,
I will say this. I had mixed feelings about the cheap haircut because I like the price to stay low
well,
when I was going to get
cut.
haircuts. But man, if that haircut was bad, you went back and got another haircut.
Yeah, you have
Because
to fix that.
oh
You
my
have to fix
gosh, the ribbon, the ladies wouldn't want to see you anymore. The guys wouldn't
Yes.
let you forget it. You
Yes.
fixed it. You fixed it.
Yes.
Fixed it quick. So you wind up paying
Like my
double
mom,
for because of a cheap haircut.
right.
I want to get to a
Like my mom
question.
says,
What's that?
I was gonna say, like my mom says, walking around looking like who did it and why.
Yeah, you can't be out here, messing up the family name with a busted bowl
Right.
cut. You just can't.
Right.
It's too many good barbers out here to fix this stuff. Somebody can help you
Right.
out.
And it's like, I don't know if it's probably not the same for black men, although it might be, because I don't know too many black men that go to like supercuts, but like women can't just go to anybody.
No,
You get your one person that knows your hair. She knows it's real kinky right up here, and back here is just frizzy. So she already knows how, she has to manage your hair, and you can't break in a new person
no.
with your hair. You can't just go to anybody to get your hair done. If you walk up to a person that says hair is hair, stay away from them. And I think it's different for black men. My brother runs a barber shop. So he gets some dudes that like they are in there every week. A lot of military that have to get their haircut special. He can do all the special styles that still fall within regs because he's ex-military. They don't go to nobody else because somebody else will mess up their hair. And then now they got to go back to Mike and have him fix their hair. So,
When I lived in New York, and I want to get to a couple questions. When I lived in New York, I had a barber who was like, I mean, way past retirement age. She should have shut down the shop and gone to Florida a decade ago. But we were just like, hey, you got to stay. You got to, because we want to keep with the barbershop. He had good quality. It took like 45 minutes to cut, like the simplest of haircuts. But you didn't want to change. The next guy in the next chair could have been just as good, but you didn't want to risk it.
you
Like,
can't chance it. You can't
everybody
chance
thought
it.
like if he mess up my line this one time, it ain't gonna never grow back. I'm like, I don't know, if that's true, but
Right.
who wants to find out? Right.
Yep.
So I got a
Yep.
question here that came in from the audience, and I think it's interesting. Are you a full-time writer or do you write on the side?
I write on the side. I call this my lucrative side gig. It pays for shiny things and vacations. My books do pay for themselves. All the software that I use, all the subscriptions that I have to be able to publish, to be able to write, to create all the promo, the covers, all that pays for itself. Like it's all in
Okay.
a separate account. So I do make enough a month for the books to pay for themselves. Um, so it is not, I couldn't live off of this money. Just call it a lucrative side gig. And depending on how hard I work at it and how much attention I get, some months I make more, some months I make less, but I can always pay my book bills. Full time, I am an executive assistant for a global Atlanta based beverage brand. We all know which one that is.
RC
And
Cola. It's got to be RC Cola.
absolutely, absolutely. Root beer all day, every day. So I really, really enjoy the job. I like I need that security and stability and the healthcare and the 401k.
Yeah.
That makes it possible for me to be able to dream and to write books. The retirement plan is to write full time. But
Okay.
for right now, I write very part time.
Another question that came in says, Is there a real Wade? Where do we find him? Asking for a friend.
Oh Lord, Lord.
See,
Ooh, y'all be
look,
funny.
these characters, they feel real. I'm just saying, maybe there's a real Wade out there.
There
People are taking
is a
applications.
real there's a person that I based Wade off of. I wouldn't say he's the real Wade because he doesn't look like the Wade that I drew in the book.
Okay.
Um, Wade and Gage are based off of, believe it or not, Eminem and his longtime producer Denon. They have been friends since childhood. They've been like sticking with each other, this whole entire time. Um, Denon did his first beats. They kind of came up together and they were in like this group called Dirty Dozen. And the rule was whoever made it first brought everybody along. And Dr. Dre discovered M. M brought Denon on, and then M formed a record label and signed D12. So that friendship, that camaraderie, that I'm for you, you're for me, we are brothers. We might be like way too close kind of friendship is what I wanted to bring to that book. Um, so I formed Wade around Denon in the fact that Wade is a talented Grammy winning producer who basically don't put up with nobody's crap. And he is all about Gage and Gage's business and Gage's albums. And that's why he is on that island. He just needs to get some work done without distraction. Never mind the gorgeous neighbor over there that he ends up getting involved with. So there is a real Wade, but if you find Denon, I mean, he's cute. He's cute to me, but he's probably not going to be like this, like the Wade you have in your head or the Wade that I drew in the book. I used him as inspiration and fodder and not as a copy paste.
All right. So, as a comment, you got to answer. It says that DL is Eminem's #1 fan. Is that true?
I don't know about #1 fan, but I do love some Marshall Mathers. I do
Is
love me
there
some.
certain things? It is his style, his rap, his swag. What is
It,
it about?
his brain.
Eminem.
It is his brain. His like if you have ever heard him talk about how he writes, like if you see him do interviews, like he just has like boxes and boxes of notebooks. And every page is just full of lyrics and he just be writing upside down to the side because every time something comes to mind, he pulls out a notebook
You got to
and he
write
writes it
something.
down. A napkin, an arm, like a receipt, a piece of paper. He just has boxes of and he'll just like flip through stuff until something hits him. And then he'd be like, and like the way that he writes and the rhyme scheme that he comes up with, like that, it just comes from his brain like that. And I think that probably in his past, people thought he was an odd person or um, I know he had like a learning disability when he was younger, but a lot of that just could have been his genius. So I like the way his mind works when he's most serious when he's talking about his music. And I want to be that serious when I am talking about my fiction. So I like to listen to songwriters because like they don't let a song defeat them. They just keep at it. Just write words, write sentences. Some of them rhyme, some of them don't. Put it away, bring it back. It'll come to you. And then they like set it to music. Like that's crazy to me. So yeah, I'm
It's
very much about his rhymes and just the way his mind works.
he's clearly one of the most talented uh, lyricists to ever grace the mic, right? So I think
Yeah.
he can flip and go into different genres, and he could probably do a country song tomorrow, a country album if he wanted to. It just seemed like
Probably.
he can figure out how to make it work and be good at it. Is this something, just thinking about you as a writer, how hard is it to kind of switch audiences. So let's stay in the romance kind of lane. Do you think you can write for a young adult audience and still do romance?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Not
No.
in
First
your.
of all, no, not in my wheelhouse. First of all, I would have an issue writing a young adult romance. I have written in books young people who have, like that young love, fallen in love, teenagers have sex. They just do.
Yeah.
But I don't want to write a steamy, spicy scene featuring people under 18. That's not a thing I want to be doing. I am also 48. I haven't
Your
been a
teen
young
years are
adult
behind you, is
in,
what you're saying, right?
yeah, I haven't been a young adult in some time. I don't know what these kids be about. I don't think I could write to that audience. Like I had said the other day on Twitter, like my characters have progressively gotten older because I am older. I haven't been in my 20s in 20 years. I don't know what 20-year-olds be doing. I mean, I write 25, 29-year-olds that read like 35-year-olds because I don't know what 25-year-olds think about, talk about. What are they interested in? What are they eating? Do they eat Takis all
I'm
day?
gonna
I
be
don't even know
honest
what
with
that
you.
is. I've never
I don't
had
know what
one.
45-year-olds talk about, and I'm 45. Like when I sit down with them, I'm like, oh, that's what we talk about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
So,
I
listen,
don't.
we don't want to take up all your time. Cause look, like I said, this is fun for me. I can talk to you forever, but I do want to leave some time to talk about you and where they can find you, and all of the places they can connect with you. So give them the social media platforms, website, and all that good stuff. And if you have any events or anything that's coming up that they should be aware of that you can be participating in, shoot that out as well.
Will do. I wanted to answer Tasha's question really quick.
Okay.
She asked, "What do I think I do well when it comes to my writing?" And I not very often big up myself, so I'll take the chance here. I think I write banter very well. Um, I don't so much write an emotional scene, but I love like a fight scene, like a get in there clawing at each other fight scene. I love writing a fight scene because I like writing the makeup scene. So I think I do that very well. I think I do description and setting very well. I always want my setting to be a character within itself. Like when you read Beach Thing, I want you to hear the waves crashing on the sand. And when you read A Thin Line and they're at their God, where did they go? St. Lucia. I want you to be able to see the houses with the red umbrellas and the cobblestone pathways, and I want you to be able to see that in your mind. And I have to paint that picture. Like that's what I find enjoyable, bringing that out in the text. So I think I do that. I think I do that pretty well. I am happy with it. So
And you hope that other people are happy with it because still got
yeah.
that people pleasing part in there, right?
Yes, thank you, Tasha. You can find me on the internet. I'm author DL White just about everywhere, mostly on Twitter and Instagram. I am also on Facebook. I think it's just DL White on Facebook, but I also have a Facebook page that is Books by DL White.
Right.
And I just like forward event things and funny bookish memes, and any announcements that I have go on that page, so you don't have to follow my account if you don't want to. I'm a little bit on TikTok. I'm kind of out of love with it, but I log in to watch cat videos. So
Hey, look,
I'm there.
I'm always in there watching something lose about an hour and then like, oh man, I got to start doing work again.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
But
before we
mostly
go
Twitter and
on
Instagram.
Twitter, your handle is that still going to change? Like,
You
I
know
don't know
what?
if it
I
was.
don't know.
Where did we land on that?
People got so upset when I said I was changing my Twitter handle. Like they're very attached to it. And
Tell
that's
the people what your handle is if they
my
don't know.
handle is breasted boobily, and it's an inside joke about the way that men write romance, that they're always writing things like she breasted boobily down the stairs. Like things that don't make any sense, that make you
Right.
wonder, do they know any women? Have they ever seen one? Because that is not what
And
happens.
yeah,
So my username has been breasted boobily for like probably 3 or 4 years. It's very entertaining to me. The thing is, I have two Twitter accounts. I have a personal account that's like all my news, politics. Like most of my personal friends are on that account because they do not care about my books. So I kind of keep it real general over there. I hang out a lot on the books account because that's where I go, where I'm not getting all of the news and politics on my regular account.
you
So
kind of
I
keep the
might
parts of your life
actually,
separate. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I may
So
actually change my username on my personal account, because I also want to start like really talking about books that I'm reading on that account. Because I don't talk about books I'm reading really on my author account. I just feel like unless they're a friend of mine, it's kind of it's weird a little bit, for me to be like talking about and reviewing books on my author account. So I don't. But I may actually just start doing that on my person, and that's the Kirby Jones. So I may change my username on that one. So breasted
so
boobly is safe for now. So
I
I
don't.
get
I
tired.
feel like you're gonna have a riot on your hands. This is gonna be like the fan fiction
Yeah.
all over again. People gonna be
It was very,
mad.
I mean, I was very surprised actually. I got like a lot of comments that were like, no, that's how I know you.
It's like having a really good
Okay.
phone number. You don't change it, right? You just carry that bad boy. If your number is 757-575-5575, you just leave it.
You
You
don't
never
change
change
that.
it. Breasted
Yeah.
boobily is an awesome, and I would feel bad because I'd be like, well, let me just tag her in something. And I'm looking for breasted boobly. I'm okay, maybe I spelled it wrong.
I'm
Maybe
not
it's
saying,
breasted it's boobly, and I'm adding letters. It would be so confusing. My world would be
no. I
changed.
mean, it's always going to be author DL White, but the actual tag,
Yeah.
is breasted. I think it comes up either way. But I'm going to leave it for now. I wasn't going to change it till January anyway.
I'm not trying to call it
I'm going to
riot.
leave it
I'm
for
just
now.
saying you might want to leave it. Listen, it has been an absolute pleasure, and I knew it would be. I learned something. I got in sync. I know what to get you for your birthday now. If
Oh,
you come
great.
back down, or if I come to see you, I know what to get you. Some kind of in sync paraphernalia, or M&M, or something like that. But listen,
If
it's
you
been an
could see the
absolute
corner
pleasure.
of my room, if you could see
It's
the
got you
corner
got a
of my
which one is
room,
it an in sync corner or
I
M&M corner?
have I don't have anything from Eminem, but I
Okay,
do have an NSYNC corner. I
okay.
have the bobbleheads and I have the Funkos and I mean, I've got stuff. I don't waste your money on I got it. I got
Unless I can get them to come show up to
it.
sing for the birthday
That's what you
celebration.
can do. That's
Okay,
what you can do for me. That's what you can do.
there we go. Look, we'll see what I can do to make that happen. I plan to win the lotto at some point, so it's gonna happen. Thank you, thank you for joining us for this first time. Really appreciate the conversation. This has been fun. Thank you to the internet gods for not messing this up. We have no interruptions, so I'm gonna get off here before they change their mind. But listen, if you are not following DL, she gave you her handles. Make sure to follow her. She's a fun follow. She's entertaining as heck especially on Twitter. Breasted Boobily is here to stay. Make sure to follow her. Make sure to get the books. I think you're going to enjoy them. They're really good reads. They're not overly anything. They're just really, really good
They're
books.
very
If
just
you're
good
not
book.
following Resist Booksellers, make sure you go while you're in the platform, follow us as well. We're Resist underscore BKS in most of the platforms. I think you take the underscore out in Facebook. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you're not following us here on Crowdcast, we got some great conversations coming up. I can't announce them just yet. I need the final confirmation for some other indie authors who are going to be coming on to the stage, and we look forward to showcasing them as well. DL, your books are selling. We got some folks who will like your books. I
Good.
was surprised, slightly
Really
surprised that some of your books were selling in like churches, but I'm
interesting.
glad because I feel like we're finally past those stupid taboos
I
that
mean,
people don't read
yeah.
romance
Well,
or right. So
elder and minister White don't read them. So
yeah, I know. But we're getting
My
past
mom
it
can't
now.
read. Yeah, my mom can't read past the dedication. They just read the
It's like,
dedication and
oh,
close
thank
it,
you for
put
dedicating
it
this
up in the
book.
bookcase.
This sinful trash. No, I'm joking.
She,
I
she said,
hope
"Why are
she
you
didn't say
bringing
that.
these dirty books to my house?"
Dirty books. Bless your heart.
Thank you
Anyway,
so much for having me and for carrying my books in your bookstore. I do
absolutely.
not think I have been in a bookstore yet, so this is like a really a big deal for me. So I'm very appreciative, and thanks so much for having me on your show.
Absolutely. We look forward to sharing them with the world. And thank you guys for joining in this conversation. You guys have been great guests.
Yeah,
People,
thanks everybody for
Karen, I saw
having me.
Tasha, saw Jason, I saw a couple folks in here. Reggie Reeves was in here a little
My
bit earlier.
booze.
All the friends. So listen, y'all guys have a wonderful evening. Hope to see you soon. And have a good night.